All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Friday, Aug-6, 2021. Only one early baseball game today, and it's already over. It was Chicago versus Chicago, and the score was 8-6 on 8-6, and the White Sox stayed on 46 losses, and of course in Gematria, Chicago equals 46. Chicago Bears won their lone Super Bowl with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. And again, from sports to history to news, you learn the simple code of letters and numbers. You learn how Chicago equals 46, and then you just laugh at the rituals as the White Sox stay on 46 losses, as their pitcher stays on 46 home losses in a meeting of two Chicago teams. And again, you just knew there was some special ritual at the game. It's the only game today that was early. And it's the two Chicago teams interleague play, and then the game's over 8-6 on 8-6 in extra innings. What a game. But yeah, with regards to history, Gematria, today is August 6th, the 218th day of the year. Today, MLB veteran Greinke will take the mound, already on 218 career wins. But today in history, August 6th, is the day the Holy Roman Empire supposedly fell. And in Gematria, Holy Roman Empire equals 218. And of course, we're on a calendar that came out of the Holy Roman Empire, the Catholic Church. We're speaking a language that came out of the Holy Roman Empire. English is credited to a Catholic monk. And again, understanding that we live in a world where certain people are controlling information and using their control of information to control the masses. We're going to talk about why we're reading about the headlines we are today and in recent days, and once again emphasize the same repetitive points, because we're just going to keep emphasizing these points until enough people get it and recognize what's being done, because it's truly sick. And, in the headlines today, a sexual assault complaint filed with a police officer or a sheriff's office. The news today on 8-6. This is for Governor Cuomo in New York. A sexual assault complaint, a groping complaint. And what did we talk about yesterday? I said there's probably going to end up being some sexual assault, story that comes up. Something greater than what there already is of him like being over the top and flirtatious and hinting that he'd like to sleep with younger women. The Charlotte Bennett story. But again, we talked about why today and how it doesn't look like they're going to move forward with the impeachment thing unless it's going to be later today, but it's already late in the day on the East Coast. It's almost 8 p.m., so they might save the impeachment thing for days after. But again, the sexual assault thing today, we talked about this because it's 8-6. Sexual assault equals 86. Kavanaugh equals 86. Thomas, 86. Brett Kavanaugh joined Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court on the anniversary of Clarence Thomas being accused of sexual assault by Anita Hill. Again, Anita Hill, 86. Sexual assault, 86. Thomas, 86. Kavanaugh, 86. On the day leaving 86 days left in the year, Clarence Thomas was accused of sexual assault. And that's the day in history that Kavanaugh officially became a member of the Supreme Court after he had to go through that testimony beginning on September 27th, the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, about his days back at the Jesuit prep school and if he ever sexually assaulted women or got girls drunk, And again, all this stuff is ritual by the numbers, but it's the same repetitive numbers. So now today with Cuomo, who's also a Jesuit educated like Kavanaugh, I have to look into Clarence Thomas. I'm not sure if he's Jesuit educated. Wouldn't surprise in the least if he was. But again, 8-6, sexual assault 86. Seen this before in politics. Here it is again. So you got that story. And then today, also circulating in the news, the headline actually broke yesterday, but it's circulating in the news today as well. Dr. Dre's daughter, 38, says she's homeless. And we talk about how rappers, 38, just bad number in connection to them. So often they're dying by that code. Lil Wayne turned 38, and then he got arrested on federal charges right after. And a bunch of other stories like these over the years. But always this number 38 that we talk about with rappers. And again, it's because in Gematria, rapper has the value of 38. And it's a special number too. Gematria 38, English 38, Energy 38. Words like death, murder, killing, RIP, they all have the 38 connection. And, you have headlines like Michael Jai White just from August 3rd. The news broke before that on Vlad TV, but all of the mainstream reported on August 3rd about the death of his son at 38. He's not a rapper, he's an entertainer, but the 38 and death thing, it really gets rappers, it gets all people in the entertainment industry, though. But they had to save this story for 3/8 about the death of his son at age 38 in exactly 38 weeks after his birthday. Exactly 38 weeks. So, again, just 38, this number that carries a negative vibration in the entertainment world in terms of how it's portrayed in the news. And realize, like, if you go decode your name and you realize your name equals 38, all these numbers are dualistic. That I don't think any number is worse than another. It's just the way the numbers get used frequently for things like this. Shaming rappers. And remember, Dr. Dre had a death scare at the beginning of the year, too. And then we looked more into that, and I forget, it was on the anniversary of somebody else from the music world having something similar happen to them. I got to go back and look at all that. But, this is not a good headline for Dr. Dre, that his 38-year-old daughter is homeless. I mean, is this even true? I have so much trouble believing that a man of his wealth would let his daughter be homeless unless his daughter's just a terror and he's tried to help her out his whole life and she just, keeps bringing destruction to his life. He's like, you know what? I can't help you anymore. But again, it's just more like more people are going to look at this and be like, wait a minute, wasn't he just reported as a billionaire? He can't keep his daughter from being homeless? It's like a shaming humiliation ritual. And that, talk about programming, like the stereotype of black men, they're not fathers because they can't be good fathers. So here's a billionaire black father whose daughter's homeless. Again, with regards to the language and all this being Catholic and them controlling the show, again, remember the word believe, because I was just about to say it, believe. It's spelled a funny way, BELIEVE, but it has LIE in the middle, lie, believe. And a lot of people believe things that are not true. They choose to believe it because it's easier to believe it, or they don't want to think that person would lie to them, or they don't want to think that happened. There's just this comfort in believing and not really thinking. But I was about to say, I just can't believe. But it's not that I can't believe, it's just that I can't fathom. I can't think that Dr. Dre, if his daughter's a terror, he's got money and resources, he can get her the kind of support, and, I would think, this is a man who figured out how to become a billionaire based on the stories we're told. So I would think he'd be able to figure out something better for his daughter than homelessness. And, but yeah, I just see how they got to, look at how they got to emphasize the age in the title, you guys. Dr. Dre's daughter, 38, says she's homeless. And remember, I've been looking at this since 2013. When I first learned this knowledge, I was like, what could this possibly apply to? I read about this in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. I was like, let me go back and I looked at a bunch of things in history, and then, it wasn't far into it. I was like, let me go back and look at the deaths of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. And I noticed right away that both of them died on dates with 38 numerology. And I said, look at that. It's this number connected to death. The word rapper's 38. So here's Dr. Dre, the rapper, with headlines like this about him. And again, you got Michael Jai White, who didn't seem to care that much that his son died from 38 at COVID. It's like, how are you supposed to interpret that? Guess he's just happy to be a movie star. Sorry, son. I got to do a few more flicks. They said the next one's going to be even bigger, but you can't be around for it. So I'll visit you every year in the cemetery. But yeah, and again, all these stories, it's like, what is really going on? A lot of people are surprised. They're like, wow, he had a 38-year-old son? Did he have a 38-year-old son? Is this like a story he's told along to go with to just sell more reasons why people should go out and get their COVID vaccine so they don't end up like his son? How legitimate are the stories we're getting? How many stories are just completely contrived, and how many are like a sick satanic murder ritual, a sacrifice for a future benefit, like a big contract to do 5 more action movies. But again, it doesn't seem like you had to, become super famous. We read about entertainers like this. Like, again, this Kelly Hand. She made international headlines. Her death on August 3rd. Her artist name K-Hand. 38, just like death. If you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with the rules numerology. Her name, K-Hand, and death is the exact same and all. And again, she's from Detroit, Michigan, which equals 83. The city's on the 83rd meridian. Murder equals 83 and 38. Again, the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. You know the movie poster for Murder by Numbers where the only letters changed to numbers are 3 and 8. But, and then she died at 56, number we've been talking about all year. But, just... again, these rituals, these numbers that you don't want to have in the entertainment world, you don't want them assigned to your name because it seems like the people that have these numbers connected to them, they're the ones that we read about the most on these fateful dates. You say, it's like that phrase, your number's up. But the thing about Dr. Dre's daughter, besides just the 38 thing, look at this. From his birthday, this news actually broke yesterday. It broke August 5th. From his birthday to August 5th is 168 days, right? LaTanya Young is 168. I saw the headline today because they still had it up at the top today. And what I noticed about it like being in circulation today, the 218th day of the year, is look at his birthday, 218, right? He's also the age of 56 this year. But the news broke yesterday, 168 days after his birthday. And again, his daughter's name, LaTanya Young, is 168. So if she's been homeless, I mean, they obviously waited until this day to report. But again, it just looks ritualistic. It looks like ritualistic shaming, like I said, to perpetuate stereotypes. Black men don't make good fathers. Cultural stereotype. So here's Dr. Dre, gets to play the part, right? And I guess now I think about it, Dr. Dre, he even has a little bit of a movie career, doesn't he? He was in Training Day with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke, and I think he's been in some other movies too. But yeah, I mean... just the 38 was enough, but then you just see how it's lined up with his birthday, the story. 24 weeks after his birthday, same digits as 4-2. We know how they love to code those ones. But with regards to all the 38, and don't forget the whole Pentagon killing on August 3rd. Pentagon equals 38. DC on the 38th parallel. The killer's name put out, it was like Austin Lawns, 38. The victim's name, George, was it Gonzalez, equaled 163, the 38th prime. But with regards to that, look at this story that CNN, I missed this on August 3rd. I didn't see it, but notice this is a screenshot from CNN's front page today. And up at the top on the right, you have the Amazon story about Amazon reinstating the mask policy. Amazon out of Seattle 44 like mask. But right below that, the story that they bumped to the top, a black boy was pushed to his death. His mom says it was more than a prank. Black boy, right? I mean, come on. That's the headline, black boy. Like the way boys been used throughout history in a derogatory way towards black males, but a black boy. I mean, and obviously a story that's meant to provoke around racial headline, around, feelings of race. Black boy. So, but look, I mean, so I click on the story thinking this is something new that they just published today since it's at the top. But look at when it was published, you guys. The morning of August 3rd, right? August 3rd. Story about a death, right? So, Lane, if you're out there, Generation Y. I was trying to explain this to you the other day because you use and abuse the N-word with the A ending. And I know you don't mean anything bad by it. I know you don't. You use it in a friendly way. But still, man, I mean, just like, you don't got to use it in every sentence. But Lane's been talking this way when he calls into my show since forever. But he was annoying me one day. So I told him, I said, by the way, man, I said, the other thing is I said, you need to get caught up on what I've said before about using the N-word. I know the difference between the ER ending and the A ending. And I know the story too. Again, when I was a child, I had a man who was probably in his early 20s. He explained to me, because I asked him the difference. He was a black male. I asked him the difference. I said, what's the difference between when people say the word this way and this way? And he explained it to me. He said when you use that ER ending, he said that's like a mean thing to say to somebody who's black, to try to insult them. And he said, when you put the A on the end, it's like a way of taking away the mean thing and saying, like, see, we're not going to let that word hurt us. In fact, we'll just use it now to embrace ourselves as friends. So I said, okay. I said, that kind of makes sense. So it's like you made that word, it's no longer a weapon that has much of an impact. But still, when I learned gematria, because again, I just, even understanding that, just growing up, you see how it still creates like groups. I mean, because like, but when I was in middle school, a common word was a wigga, a W. Some people would call a white guy a wigga if he listened to hip-hop music. And again, in the time I was in middle school, again, it was like, how cliques are at younger areas of school. I mean, there'd be like the clique of everybody wearing their R.I.P. Kurt Cobain t-shirt, and then there'd be the clique of everybody wearing their R.I.P. Tupac shirt. And, there might be a white guy or two in that group over there, and they're called wiggas, right? That's what people would say. I never like using this word, and I didn't do this, but it was so common. People would say this all the time. People would call me a wigga because I listen to rap music. I listen to everything, though. I was like, well, I like it all, man. I like what sounds good. And but yeah, you'd also see white guys who then, like sometimes they'd even start saying, they wouldn't say wigga, they'd say the way the black guys are saying it, right? And then some people don't care about that, and then they're like, oh, well, that's messed up. He shouldn't be saying that because he's white. But again, the point is this word, it's like, it has a divisive element. Again, there's a purpose to language and the inventors of language, and sometimes you wonder if language is the most dangerous thing in society, because if you're not educated and you don't understand the power of language, you might enter into a contract that could really screw up your life. And are people not doing that every day? So I'm saying, like, if you're studying the research I'm doing, Lane likes the research because it makes him money from gambling. So he sees it from that angle, but he's not really thinking about it, I don't think, much deeper than that. And I think that's true because, yeah, like, he didn't understand, like, 93 in the sun. But anyway, the point is, he got mad at me when I was telling this. He's like, no, you don't understand the culture. And I was like, but I do understand the culture. I'm just saying, though, is it ultimately a good thing? And is there something more to this word? Think about how rap music is what has really spread the 38, right? It's hip-hop culture and rap music that, by and far, it's not the only thing, but it spread this word so much further. So what I was saying to Lane that day is I was saying that number that word carries is the number that connects to so many young black people, dead in the headlines. And I know that when you're saying the word, it's not like you're wishing death on anybody, but still, is there something to language and using these words that brings about consequences? Again, is there truly, the Kabbalistic practice says, the Hermetic, all these ancient knowledges, Hermetic practice, things carry vibrations, they have impacts. Why are there so many things coding 38 aimed, at black people? It's bigger than just this country. Like the continent Africa is 38. And when you think of Africa, you think of what? Death, disease, illness, famine, plague, medical experimentation, endless war, endless hijacking of resources, but 38's coded on that continent. And then this word that the whole world's being taught through hip-hop music that's embraced, but also has like divisive elements to it. It's spread all over. Meanwhile, all the rappers who use the word are ending up in the grave premature in 138 story after the next. So, again, there seems to be something more. And I've been saying this for a long time, than just the ritual of it. It's obviously ritualistic, but I mean, to put this much energy into it, to have a mainstream aimed at the people doing this every day as they do, again, does somehow this keep everybody like in a programmed trance state where they just march along and just keep saying the same stuff over and over and thinking the same way and holding all the same prejudices and beliefs. You know? So, yeah, I think if you use that word, you should really think twice about using that word. I know that you might have used this word a million times and you never meant anything bad by it, but still, is there something that's actually, like with a negative intent for the reason this word was actually introduced and made so popular? You see? Yeah, but look at this. This isn't where this story ends. It's not just that the story came out on August 3rd. So here's everything. If I looked this story up and I wanted to see, when it happened, and all the sources say that this accident happened July 1st, 2019, right? July 1st, 7/1. I got about 10 minutes to finish. I gotta go quicker. Okay, July 1st. Look at this. This phrase "black boy" that they're using with the most simple cipher. The alphabetic order, black boy is 71, right? And we've talked about this. African American is 71. Birth of a Nation, the film about Nat Turner, Birth of a Nation, 71. They said it had a disappointing box office weekend, only making $7.1 million. Nat Turner died in history on November 11th. I forget what year it was, but whatever the date numerology was 71. There's been a lot of 71 rituals. The whole time with Biden, they kept saying that Biden had 71% of the African American vote. We documented that 8 different times. Again, they got to put the same stat up again that Biden has 71% of the African American vote. So black boy, right? African American, this phrase that we use in America that Morgan Freeman explained didn't make any sense a long time ago. He said, do you want to be called a European American? And by the way, black boy 71, 145, 46, and all the same ciphers as Catholic. I think about all the movies made in the Hollywood years that show the racial rivalry between blacks and Italians more. I think about that more and more now, just realizing the Catholic Jesuit influence. But 7/1 is the day this happened. And then the other thing is July 1st, 2019, that was a date with 47 numerology. This story is about racism, how the police didn't do a proper investigation and thought it was just an accident. But the mother's name, look at this. Look at how all this comes together. Alina Joseph is 4761, right? Look at news, 4761. This is a news story. And then it's got the 187, just like Society of Jesus. I'm always talking about how they encode 47 in these stories. It happened on a 47 date numerology. And again, the child's name, Christopher Capessa. Her child is Christopher Capessa. That child's name in the most simple cipher is 211, the 47th prime. And then again, the story is about essentially, racist practice, not doing a proper investigation. The mother believing that her child was murdered, purposefully pushed to his death. And then they say he drowned too, right? That's another stereotype, right? That black people can't swim. But racist, again, is 47. That's the undertone of this story about the black boy, right? That they release on 3/8, at a time where they're just trying to provoke people by race day after day. And again, what's so sick is how the media acts like they're the champions of trying to end this by exposing it when it's this same media that's programmed people to be racist for decades with exactly what they do. Again, if you grew up in my era, every night the nightly news, there'd be some, wanted criminal out on the streets who was between this huge age gap and this different height span, but he was definitely black. And it's just like, okay, so it's any black guy in town? Yeah. Okay, that's why I don't watch the news. But, yeah, again, you just see that this is all coded propaganda, and it just makes you wonder, is any of this story true? Is this a completely contrived story? There's definitely racism in the world, don't get me wrong, and it's possible this is a true story, but still you see, it's like, well, then we need to look more into it. Uh-oh. I got to wrap it up short, you guys. R.I.P. to the lady from My 600-Pound Life, Gina Crassley. They saved the news of her death for today, 8/6. Of course, last night in the latest live stream I just did, I was talking about how they bring 67 and 86 together. And again, I educated about that yesterday because here we are on 8/6, and now we got a death of a reality TV star, unknown cause of death. People won't question it because she's overweight. But what are the odds that the news on 8/6 comes of the woman with the 67 name? Again, 6786 last year, Van Halen on the day, leaving 86 days left in the year dead, while his brother's 67. And also, they're saying the Gulf Stream could get shut down, and if that happened, it would be devastating for humanity. This was a scientific report put out yesterday, the day leaving 148 days left in the year. Gulf Stream 148. So the scientific community says if the Gulf Stream gets shut down, it's going to be dire consequences for humanity. What I have to say about this is go back and look at the mainstream news reporting when we had the BP oil spill in the Gulf. The Gulf Stream stopped, and the news media was acting like it was a mystery. How can an oil spill stop the Gulf Stream? But they reported on this, and it was really confusing to me. I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. But the Gulf Stream has stopped, and before. But just realize, just the reporting by the numbers, the scientific community putting out this document in just a perfect ritual. Again, it just shows all this stuff. It's all controlled by the same cabal. This organization, the Jesuits, they've been building universities, hospitals, governments worldwide. We're living in their sandbox. And that's why everything worldwide, day after day, rolls out by a code. So, anyway, we'll leave it there. Had to cut it short for Sweet Lady. So, until next time, True Seeker, have a good day.